right, welcome aboard, everybody. It's time to talk Giants football. You see the blue around us. Lovely, lovely. We are presented by our friends at Northeast Roofing Professionals. You see them right above us there in the center of the screen, nerpcny.com. And today's video brought to you by our friends at Sharkies. We'll hear a little bit more from our friends at Sharkies a little bit later in the video. Boy Green, good evening. How are you, sir?
I'm doing swell, Lurch, and it's good to talk all things Big Blue. I'm definitely not jealous of the John Harbaugh hire and all the wonderful additions and the drafts right around the corner. Yeah, I'm great. I love that we're in the same town.
Yeah, I wish we were in the same coaching morass as you. I'm glad we no longer are. My goodness. Oh, thank goodness. It is so nice to be sitting in this place where you feel like the coach is 100% competent, and now it's just a question of getting the right people plugged in terms of the players, and we'll get ourselves rocking and rolling. So you're right to say so, my friend, right to say so. Well, it's very rare in the program that we are out nicknamed, but tonight we might be. All right, you've got the Manchild, you've got Boy Green, and then you've got an even better nickname. I wish this was my nickname. The Football Grump from the Giants Nation podcast is joining us, co-host of the Giants Nation podcast. What's up, Football Grump? How are you?
What's going on, guys? Yeah, self-stylized nickname, by the way.
Nice.
I didn't earn that one. I just gave it to myself. So
okay, normally that's against
broke
our
the rule,
rules.
Boy Green. He broke the rule, right?
But we'll get through this conversation. We'll see if it's if that shoe fits. But I think you've been doing just dandy. It's got. I have to imagine though, it's got to be hard to carry that nickname this offseason with so much sex appeal and Harbaugh and some big moves for the Giants. They got a top 5 pick. Harbaugh brings competency. That's sort of what Manchild was talking about right before we came on here. Is that the case? Has it been, me from the outside here just watching it, awkwardly like a prom dance I wasn't invited into looking through the window? It sounds like everything's pretty great in there.
Well, I mean, I would agree with you. So I can already tell that we're going to get off on the wrong start here with does the Grump nickname fit? And you have to understand it was stylized at a time where the Giants were better and I was trying to calm everybody down. Okay. So it's probably more like the level-headed football guy, but that sounds stupid, right? So, but I would agree with you. I actually think that this is the most excited I've ever been in an offseason, and I don't know how any Giant fan could not be. And the reason is because like 95% of that is the John Harbaugh hire, right? Like, because that comes with all sorts of stuff with it. That's a whole new culture, and it's one with a very long track record of success. You know what I mean? Like, John Harbaugh has pretty much only coached in one spot because he's that good. They didn't want to get rid of him. He's had sustained success over time. Giants fans, you could tell them that this is a great offseason for them and how great the John Harbaugh hire is. They're going to point to legitimate things that are serious issues. They have a big question mark at cornerback. They have 2 question marks at defensive tackle. They have a question mark at right guard. I mean, and each day that passes that somebody is not signed is like agony. It's nails on a chalkboard for Giants fans right now. But ultimately, I agree with you. I think that this is a great offseason thus far. And the reason Giants fans are upset right now or worried or anxious right now about the things I mentioned is simply because there were far too many things to fix than there were tools available. And also, quite frankly, it's March. So there is still plenty of time for things to change.
Yeah, and you can get bargains, if you wait it out a little bit, but you want to make sure that there are capable players. I was reading some rumors today about Calais Campbell. Could he come in at 40 years old and be an impact player for the Giants? So we can get into some of that stuff. I want to get to some of the meat on the bone, though. Let's start with Kayvon Thibodeau. What's your thought, Grump, about Thibodeau? Do you see him staying a Giant? Do you really think it benefits the Giants better to catapult out of this now? Try and I was hoping at least a 3rd rounder for this guy. He was a 1st-round pick, for crying out loud. But, maybe sometimes you just got to cut bait and go. It'd free up some money, and maybe we could go get some of those players you're talking about.
I think I have no idea of what John Harbaugh thinks, because I'm not used to like looking at things through a Harbaugh lens. I'm used to kind of like, whatever. So there are some things that John Harbaugh does in hindsight that are like, well, duh, of course he would do that. There are things that, even with hindsight, I'm still surprised he would do that. Evan Neal, who would have known?
Right, yeah.
Which Giant fan would know that the Baltimore Ravens head coach really liked Evan Neal? You know, I just wouldn't have expected that move. And not only that, but so much that he would sign him to a minimum contract. Of course, he could just end up being a camp body, but I mean, that was like easy dead weight right there. You know, there's plenty of evidence. I don't know, whatever. You get my point. I have no idea what John Harbaugh thinks. And if Kayvon Thibodeau is something that schematically fits what he wants to do or not, or, you know, whatever. I like Kayvon. I like that he brings something different that Abdul Carter and Brian Burns don't necessarily bring, mostly in the run game. It's not sexy. It's not the kind of thing that you can just point to stats or just, you know, grab an eye-popping highlight of, you know, someone's helmet flying off and showing as evidence that's just like, you want this, but you want this. And the other thing is it's a third defensive end that is a starter caliber player. For Giants fans are always going to view Kayvon Thibodeau with where he was drafted. And that needs to be separated once it's time for a new contract. Once you get that new contract and what's negotiated at that point, that is a like clean slate kind of expectation level. Right. So I think, for me, I would love to have Kayvon here long-term. I think Kayvon would like to be in New York long-term, but I think Kayvon knows that his name and brand does come with some cachet that he might be able to cash in on somewhere else that is equally as big, as exciting, and offers as much opportunity as New York.
You know, there's overwhelming positive, just to go back to the Harbaugh thing for a second, you know, winning the offseason and all that, whatever that means. And, you know, everything that he's done, 18 years, success, Super Bowl champion, all that stuff. Did you have any concerns about, yeah, this guy's great, but what the hell happened in Baltimore? You know, sometimes things get stale. Andy Reid, Philadelphia, goes to Kansas City, and it's great. It all works out for everybody. But some of the concerning reports that came out of Baltimore and Harbaugh were head scratching. Now, again, I still would have hired the guy, but did you have any reservations about how sloppy the exit was and players apparently not vibing during some of those player exit meetings and pointing at Harbaugh as one of the big reasons for issues? Did you have any concerns about that?
No, not really. I mean, initially, yes. Initially, I think everything was on the table. I don't even think that I really thought John Harbaugh was going to be fired, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right.
It still seems crazy that it's happening because we haven't played a game yet and you know, nothing's really happened. So it's, you know, whatever. But I started to, so, you know, Twitter is a place of incredible debate. Some information that you would probably never get, you know, without having to actually seek it out. And also a lot of just dumb nonsense. But, you know, so I have to sift through it. And Ravens fans were like, you know, I was like, this is a lot of complaining. And like some of this is right away I can ignore because it just doesn't make sense. Like the whole thing about like the number of games that he's like dropped in the fourth quarter is a wholly abused statistic because simply no other coach has been around long enough to accumulate the same stat that he has. It's just a ridiculous stat. And it's just easy to point out. So I started looking into some of the things, especially with hanging on to coaches too long and you know, not firing Greg Roman a year earlier. And I had gotten into like a back and forth with somebody about changing offensive coordinators mid-season in 2012 when they won the Super Bowl. And you know, I was like backing that like that's a huge decision, like mid-season making like, you know, and it being the move. And, you know, I researched that like pretty hard. I was going through books that were written about that season that were behind the scenes interviews with everybody, you know, the GM, the front office, the owner, and John Harbaugh, like, you know, all about the decisions surrounding that. And they all said that it was John Harbaugh's call, like, you know, and he made that call early on his own. And I think once I started to like delve into these things, I think I just understand where Ravens fans are coming from. And you know what I mean? Like you said, like things just get stale. There is a problem there with him connecting with his players, and maybe it's just time. I think that now in March, looking back at things, I think that the separation of Harbaugh and Baltimore makes more sense than McDermott and Buffalo.
Okay, that's interesting. Grump, let me ask you about the number 5 pick. Boy Green and I actually did our first mock where I was the Giants GM, and I wasn't Joe Shane. I was John Harbaugh because we know who the real GM is, and he was playing Darren Muji.
All right, so real quick before your question,
he's got all those picks, picks to play with.
Yeah.
I only had 2 little picks to play with. He's got all these picks, and he's trading and wheeling and dealing. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's pull it up, Grump. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to show you what Manchild did earlier today, and I want you to harshly.
First time. It was my first time though.
Oh no! Don't give him any of that gold.
I'm good with what I did.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, this is the first time we've done this. Give me a second and a third. Maybe I'll do it differently.
Okay, but here it is. So I'm going to throw it up here. Here's what he did in the first and second round. Okay, he got Caleb Downs. He traded back with Washington, NFC East rival. That's a little slimy, but he did that. Dropped
got
from
back
5
our
to 7.
3rd round pick in that trade. That's what I was
Very nice.
to do.
And then took Kristen Miller. So double defense. Grump, let us have it here. How do you do?
Okay, so I'll let you guys have it. I will tell you that there is no way to please people with a mock draft. You are always going to get made fun of and ripped apart for your decisions. And I also did 2 of these, and I got ripped apart for both of my mock drafts.
All right.
In my first mock draft, I picked Caleb Downs at 5.
Ooh,
and I got to be honest, like the draft is sort of like the thing that got me to where I am now on Giants Nation show. It's just something that I really enjoy. I love watching college players and evaluating talent and stuff. So I don't want to overspeak here because I clearly have not done everybody. There's guys that are definitely going in the first round that I have not done work on yet. So
right.
Caleb Downs to me might be the 3rd best player in this entire draft.
Wow.
He's in that top 3 for me thus far. Okay. And Reese, I think, is up there with him. Reese is a really, really good prospect. Also, this is a draft where there's not a lot of top end talent. So that's saying a lot and a little at the same time. The Giants with their safety position, I think that there's a case to be made for Caleb Downs. Tyler Nubin has disappointed. Javon Holland honestly may not fit anymore with Denard Wilson and John Harbaugh. It really could, not work out. So there's that. And Caleb Downs looks like a day 1 starter to me. Absolutely a day 1 starter. I don't want to get too much into the nitty gritty, but I could gush about Caleb Downs all day. Kristen Miller, I have not done any work on, but I do know that he is a good player and defensive tackle at 37. I can high five this entire thing. I can high five the fact that you just got us a 3rd round pick. You got somebody I would be happy with at 5. You've added a defensive tackle that I believe is a good player. And all you gave Washington was the 5th overall. That's it.
That's it. Bing, boom, bam.
We got our 3rd back.
I'm okay with that one.
Nice.
I think that's fine.
Okay. There you go. Now, Lurch, you can ask whatever your real question was. I was hoping he was going to dunk on you. I thought he was going to destroy you. I was hoping for some of that, but that's all right.
Well, I think answered it a bit, but who do you like at 5? It was interesting in this mock, just to put all cards on the table, Grump. One of the things that happened was 3rd pick of the draft was Sonny Styles. Reese was picked 2nd. Obviously, Mendoza was picked 1st. And then the 4th pick of the draft was Jeremiah Love. So I didn't even have the Love equation on the table. And I really like Sonny Styles. I think he could be a good fit for the Giants. I'm very curious to hear what you think about him. So that's why I was left. So I was going to go Downs or I was going to go with Mansour, the corner.
Mansour
one of those.
Yep.
I was going to go one of those 2 guys, but I figured let me trade down, try and get back my 3rd here, and then I can get either one of the 2, whichever is available. And as it turned out, both were available. So obviously I took Downs because I think he's the better player.
Yeah. Okay. So if that's how everything went, then I think I would have done probably the same thing as you, because I'd probably be at that point, Downs or trade down. And you managed to get both. You traded down. I like Delane a lot. I think that would be my only thing with Delane. It has nothing to do with himself. It's just that the bust rate on 1st round corners is remarkable.
That's what I
think. It is like me personally. The Giants are in a position now where they need that corner to not bust. They cannot fail on a 1st round pick right now, and they need that corner to be someone they rely on. In that situation, I am a buy what you have evidence of, buy an NFL free agent. get what you like, and then you can measure your expectations. Right. You can attack the position by committee, whatever. Sauce Gardner, I was even like someone that I was like nervous about because it was just like it's just too perfect. Like, and like that sounds stupid, but he's like the only one recently that I was just like, yeah, I would probably draft, Sauce Gardner. Sonny Styles, you asked me what I think of him. I think he's really raw. I think there's a lot to get excited about. There's clear upside. There's clear traits. He destroyed the combine.
Yeah, what he did at the combine was crazy.
I know. It's ridiculous. I think in most drafts we wouldn't be talking about him at 5. I don't know. I think that he's a great player, and I think that the likelihood of him achieving somewhere close to his ceiling is very high. But is that something that I want at 5? So even if you're at the scenario now where you are Styles is on the board and so is Downs, I feel more secure taking Downs, knowing that Styles' upside, like his ceiling might be higher. I just think the Giants, the situation they are right now, they just can't screw this up. And I'd rather go to what I think is more reliable.
More of a sure thing. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Grump, I feel like we're already best friends already, and this is great. We've broken bread. We will break drinks and everything else. What about this? Stop this 5 nonsense. Come on up to 2. I'm willing to dance. Let's dance. Come on. Let's go to 2. Harbaugh, come on, get your second choice. Your number 1 overall pick over all the non-quarterbacks. Let's dance. 5-2, Jets, Giants. We're brothers from other mothers. Let's make a deal.
What's on the table?
All right. Well,
honestly,
it sounds like you're interested at least.
Well, okay, Manchild. How would you feel about Reese being the linebacker that's drafted over Styles?
That'd be pretty tasty. That'd be pretty tasty.
It's all a matter of what's on the table. What do you want? Jackson Dart? That's not happening.
No thanks.
He's gonna want picks. This guy likes to stock picks.
Don't
go for our picks. It's going for the jugular here.
Yeah, we could save the Kayvon Thibodeau conversation for another one. Manchild's always trying to pine him off on me every other day, so no thanks. I loved KT coming out of that draft, but what about your second this year and a first next year? Bing, boom, bam. Let's go.
So you want the Giants to move up to 2 and have no second and no third and no next year's first.
We're on the same page already.
I think you're at. I think. How about Darius Slayton in next year's second?
There you go, Darius Slayton.
Oof.
Who's first of all, who is who throwing to who on the Jets right now?
Right, there you go.
Yeah, Geno Smith, he's back, baby. It's great. We got Geno.
I gotta really ask you, like, how you come to grips with that.
It is bizarre. For that guy to walk out of the door in 2016 and everything that happened, the sucker punch in the locker room, all the drama, and you're like, well, that sucked. All right, well, just move on. And then nearly a decade later, essentially a decade later, because he ended up leaving officially in 2017, and we're here in 2026. And when I heard, because before the trade, I had heard a lot. Oh, wow, this is serious. This could happen. I didn't know if the Jets would ever want Geno. And quite frankly, did Geno want to come back? There was horrific memories here. And he's had a wonderful NFL comeback player of the year. The numbers have been spectacular, quite frankly, since he's been a full-time starter in 2022, outside of last year with the Raiders, which was a disaster. The numbers have been pretty good. So I'm like, if you're Geno, I can do better than the Jets. So I didn't think it was going to happen, to be candid. So since it's happened, I'm going to be honest, I've sort of fully embraced it, because the other part of this dance is who wants you and who do you want? So Kyler Murray told the Jets to go kick rocks. All right, he's off the list. Kirk Cousins said, yeah, that's not happening. All right, he's off the list. So now once you start vetting through the options that are legitimate on the table of that you want and they want you, well, the list got pretty small, pretty quick, and thus the Geno Smith thing. So I think Geno is a very capable bridge quarterback to step in for the Jets. So actually, I'm a nostalgia guy. I already got the jersey, got the 7-pack, phenomenal. Save some money, great. Save some moving costs there. That's beautiful. So yeah, I've sold myself. I'm one of those Jet fans I'm very few. It's a minority. I'm an optimistic guy. Every year I convince myself we're winning the Super Bowl. So I'm bought in. I'm ready to roll.
Geno Smith makes more sense than Justin Fields to me. The Justin Fields thing last year made no sense, especially the contract that he got was more than the Giants paid Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
That was confusing, but I understood like the psychology behind it. It was just like, that's a lot of money. That's weird. Mm-hmm. But Geno Smith actually does fit what I agree with you. Like as a bridge quarterback, I think is a better one. Mm-hmm. It's just that he's not, it almost feels like his career, like out of West Virginia, I'm going to get on camera here, was as high as it could be. And as soon as he got drafted, like on draft night, like not getting drafted in the first round, like down here, you know what I mean? Like immediately. And it never got off the ground. It never, I can remember Rex Ryan at the podium be like, brutal day for Geno today. Just talking about practice, dude. And it just stayed down there. And then like all of a sudden it like creeps up slowly. You know what I mean? Like with it back up at the Giants and he's actually playing like okay against the Raiders or the Seahawks. I can't remember. Then he winds up like on the field with Pete Carroll and he's the comeback player, whatever. But now it feels like at this point that time has passed and like last year and like this is now like this is where he is like athletically too. Like it's not just he's like on this roller coaster career. Like he's also like older now. Like I don't know. Like that's gotta be frustrating. Not to go on like a 10-minute spiel to just rub it in, but
again, I just want to say this real quick on Geno, okay? You look at this guy. You look at his resume, and there's a lot of nice things on this resume. Again, comeback player of the year, 2-time Pro Bowler. He ended Eli Manning's Iron Man streak. I mean, there's a wonderful resume there. Very nice. Very nice.
I mean, do we credit that to Geno, Manchild, or do we credit that to asterisk McAdoo? You know what I mean? Like we don't speak his name.
Right. Yes. Yeah. The names that we shall not speak. This is the Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. We are presented by our friends at Northeast Roofing Professionals. Tonight's video brought to you by our friends at Sharky's. 30 seconds. Take a drink, fellas. We'll be right back. We'll just hear from our friends at Sharky's. More on the Giants with Giants Nation podcast co-host, the Football Grump. We'll be right back.
If you plan on throwing a party, whether it's a wedding, clam bake, birthday party, graduation party, a party, company picnic, and did I mention clam bake? Sharky's is your party headquarters with 3 indoor options and a plethora of outdoor options as well. All in a park-like setting with a big stage and over 7,000 square feet of covered pavilion. So rain or shine, we've got you covered. Book your next party now. Go to Sharky'sBanquets.com. Sharky's in Liverpool, making parties historic every single year.
It's warming up, Boy Green. I'm ready for some of those concerts at Sharky's coming up this summer. Terrific venue that they have there in Liverpool, New York. All right, let's keep talking all things Giants. We've got the Football Grump from the Giants Nation podcast. You got to check that out. Fantastic. One of the best Giants podcasts out there. All right, so let's talk about Jeremiah Love. Is there any interest, or should the Giants have any interest, Grump, if he's there at number 5? Do they have to at least scratch their head? You know, do they have to react in some way? What is your thought about bringing in another running back at this point?
You know, it's tough to write. So this is what I was just like, how do you reconcile like going back to Geno Smith? Like this is the Giants end of that coin, right?
Saquon, right? Yeah.
It's just like, if this happens, how do you just take off your Giants gear and pretend that you were another team then? And just like, you know, that era is over. It's irrelevant. This is a different coach, GM. Everything is different except the colors, right? You have to do your due diligence on everything, right? I mean, first of all, let's start there. I don't like the idea of like anyone even saying like, oh, he's just like right off the bat. Like, no, here's what you do. You're a $1 billion organization. You act like one, right? It's a huge industry. There should be no expense spared on anything. So you do your due diligence on everything. And I think the hardest thing for me personally to reconcile with this is that this is a indication of a much larger reset if you do something like that. And I think I'm like most other Giants fans that see like the relative success we've had running the ball in the last 2 years with, or I guess let's go back to 2022 at least, right? Brian Daboll comes in here and recognizes at least that Daniel Jones can run and likes to run, and he doesn't care if he gets hit, right? I'm going to use that. And all of a sudden we have something to pair with Saquon Barkley and some semblance of a running game centered around strengths. And, now that's evolved to the point where we're at now, where you have Jackson Dart in a similar way. Cam Scadaboo, who is, I honestly think every single team wished they had Cam Scadaboo on their team. For whatever his limitations are, just the kind of player he is, I think everyone wished they had Cam Scadaboo on their team.
And by the way, now he's going to have crazy man Patrick Ricard in front of him blasting.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice.
So that's the thing, right? Like they've really indicated via action that they are serious about this running game being the core foundation of what they build on. The passing game will come, but first and foremost, we are getting this running game going. The Greg Roman hire, the Mike Bloomgren hire, getting Patrick Ricard, even Willie Taggart as the running backs coach and everything that he did as an offensive coordinator and head coach in his past in the college days is very much in that like quarterback RPO run system, run. So the Jeremiah Love thing indicates that you're abandoning like that backfield because like he's such a dynamic talent. Then it tells you that Tyrone Tracy means nothing to this team, I think, at this point, right? And it really puts into question where Cam Scadaboo's future is going to be too. And maybe he is part of that, running back committee or something like that. But those are not backups; those are starter caliber. They have like real potential on this team, and you're essentially now resetting more of the team than, you get what I'm saying, right? Like you're kind of fixing something that isn't broken. You're just building it a different way.
Yeah.
And I think it indicates that there's just a lot more time it's going to take for this team to be competitive. And that's a little frustrating because I don't think that this is a total mess.
Yeah. He is a tantalizing athlete, but I do not think the Giants will select him. It just doesn't make any sense to me, especially with all the needs. And to me, I don't know if you agree with me or not. I mean, most of the players we have talked about are defensive players. There could be a primo offensive lineman available. I think the Giants are going to go defense at the top of the draft. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, my biggest hope, yeah, I think so. I think no matter what, the defense is probably going to be something that happens in the first round. Especially if they're picking at 5, even if they trade down. I mean, the only thing I could really see happening in a trade down scenario that's not a defensive player would be a wide receiver that I think that you could get if you trade down far enough, and or like a defensive tackle that's very, very, very good. That you want to put next to Dexter Lawrence. I mean, that solves a lot of problems. You accumulate picks, and I'm hoping that this stuff you hear about John Harbaugh always being about accumulating picks and stuff like that is true. And it's not just compensatory selections that he accumulates. But yeah, I think it has to kind of be defense. Aside from the fact that it's the side of the ball where they really didn't add free agent that is going to be a major change to anything. You know what I mean? Like Greg Newsome is nice to have. Micah McFadden coming back is important. Tremaine Edmonds is great, but you kind of trading with Bobby Okereke in terms of the depth chart. So there really hasn't been like major moves there. Whereas on the offensive side of the ball, getting Patrick Ricard, retaining Jermaine Illuminor, stuff like that is, getting Darnell Mooney, Calvin Austin, Isaiah Likely. Those are all much bigger additions. So yeah, I think it has to be defense.
All right, let's play a little fact or fiction. There's been some juicy rumors this offseason about your Giants, and some people are just taking it for what it is, and the rumors are true, and others are skeptical. That the Giants finished second in the Trent McDuffie sweepstakes was eyebrow-raising, And then there was all the buzz about, the Giants are all in on a superstar running back. Initially, there was some Jeremiah Love stuff, and then there was free agency stuff with Kenneth Walker that they were all over. Do you buy or sell both of those?
I buy them both.
Okay.
I from everything that I've seen and heard, it seems like John Harbaugh is meticulous with detail. And also, I mean, like we made the joke earlier, but like we know who's got the pants on right now, right? John Harbaugh he's wearing the captain's hat. He's behind the wheel. This is his ship right now. So, I mean, it sounds to me like John Harbaugh's that guy that gets up at 6 o'clock every morning. He does that. He goes to the facility. I don't even think it's 6. I think he's up at like 4:45 or something like that.
Right.
He goes to the facility and does the workout. Like I'm pretty sure he like did the workout that they were going to implement to like the players or something like that. So like he is so involved in like every detail. And I think he goes to work every day and there's nothing unturned. So I also think that, that commitment to the run game to me, like where that line is and where they're satisfied remains a mystery to me. I don't know, so yeah, I think that there could have been something real there where they were like, yes, it would be imperative that we get a Kenneth Walker here that solves a lot of problems for us. Like it apparently seems real. And the other one was
Trent McDuffie.
Yeah, I mean, let's be serious. They don't have a starting corner right now. And you got to get something. I think that I don't know what's really necessarily surprising about that.
Yeah, I think that was real. That definitely seems real to me.
I think also that like finishing second in sweepstakes is like a tantalizing way that media members phrase things where it's like inquiries, you know what I mean? Like
right.
They reached a certain point, you know what I mean? Like I think finishing second simply means like, well, they blew us out of the water. We're not spending that. You know what I mean? Like it could have just been tepid interest among other teams where
sure.
Yeah.
I have 2 more for you, Grump. All right. One is obviously the quarterback. How much of a believer are you at this moment in Jackson Dart and his ability to become the franchise quarterback that we know the Giants desperately need?
Man, I feel like I've been yapping a lot this time. So if I'm yapping, put a bullet in my head, make me stop.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah. Please don't. Jackson Dart, how much of a believer am I? I think that there are some positions in football that confidence and instincts and desire, like, you know what I mean? Like how much you love the game can like impact your performance more than other positions. Yes. I do think those things are important across the board and at the NFL level and yada, yada. But there's a lot that he still needs to show me, mechanically, the arm strength, the accuracy downfield, the arm strength downfield, ball flutters away from him at times downfield. There are things that he needs to correct and get better at and show me for me to be like a believer, fully. But there is a genuine confidence to him and a love for the game and a desire to get better. And like, guys are magnetized to him. You can see like, and I hate talking about this stuff because it's unquantifiable. And I think that like leads itself to, romanticizing things more than they really are. Right. But like, we've been here, like this is legitimately the one quality that Daniel Jones didn't have, for what Daniel Jones does athletically, like you see in Indianapolis, like the dude is a good athlete. He has the measurables and he has the arm, whatever, but dudes don't rally around him the way that they rally around Jackson Dart, even though they're both like fearless runners. And you know what I mean? Like that story about Daniel Jones' first start in Tampa Bay, putting the team on his back in the huddle, dropping an F-bomb in the huddle, surprising guys, whatever, goes down there and runs it in for the go-ahead touchdown for them to win in his first start. They're both gutsy guys, but for some reason, guys are more magnetized to Jackson Dart. And I think that his commitment to getting better too is something that is just, you hear about guys later on, like why they didn't work out. It's like, well, he wasn't showing up to the building early. He wasn't the first one in the building. What Jackson Dart has picked up on in the short amount of time, I didn't expect him to start as early as he did. Mm-hmm. And it's clear how much better he was than Russell Wilson.
Yes, clearly.
But I knew the learning curve was there. So they had stocked that room up so that like there was no need to push him in. And I think he just kind of forced his way there. I mean, like, whatever, Brian Dable's career was sort of riding on winning and stuff like that. And that's all playing a part of it. But I think also any coach in any situation was going to be hard pressed to defend continuing to play Russell Wilson over what Jackson Dart was doing. And I think he put himself in the position to surprise everybody by starting a little bit earlier.
Now,
so I'm holding on to that after 1 year.
And I think we're kind of in lockstep. I get the touchy-feely with him. I do agree. I think he has good football instincts. There are things he needs to work on for sure, as you said, but I think he has good football instincts, and I think that's irreplaceable. It makes me think of, what Brock Purdy has done with San Francisco. He just shows great instincts. He knows how to slide around in that pocket. He knows when to run. He's smart. There's a football IQ there, and I see some of the same things in Jackson Dart.
Yeah, I mean, there is an overthinking element to this. I know I'm just sitting here preaching like you're $1 billion organization, look at every stone, whatever. But like, there are some things where we need to just take the good with the bad, and you take the bad with the good, and just understand that dudes are football players. Like Cam Scadaboo, you can sit there and criticize his 40 time for the rest of your life. The dude's a football player. I don't care about his 40 time. Jerry Rice's 40 time wasn't that good. Odell Beckham's was very average for a wide receiver, for a good wide receiver. We overthink some things, and just being a football player is like what these guys were just born to do. They have that character, that trait, that quality. Like some people just are born to work at a desk, and some people aren't born to work at a desk. They just can't sit in one space all day. I think it's something kind of like that.
Now, if Jackson Dart works out and Abdul Carter works out, it'll be one of the best first rounds the Giants have ever had in their history. Now, we'll see, because Carter obviously is a big question mark. My last one, and then you can get yours in after me, BG,
sure,
is the offensive line. And here's my question, Football Grump. Is the offensive line finally fixed? I know we need a right guard, okay? Hopefully we can figure somebody out to play that spot. But is the damn line fixed? We've been trying to fix the line for 10-plus years. I'm sick and tired of talking about the offensive line every week. Is it finally fixed?
It's the best signing I think the Giants did was signing Jermaine Illuminator, getting him back, and on the deal that they got him. We were worried, very much so. And I was starting to be a little bit more down on Jermaine Illuminator than other fans towards the end of the season, because everyone was saying how irreplaceable he was. And I was like, I don't know about irreplaceable. You could replace him. There are guys that are as good or better than him. I think maybe we're overstating how good this guy is. He's not that great in the run game. He's just okay there, but he is a very good pass blocker at that right tackle spot. Also went to my high school. Shout out. Very, very strange, and didn't play, even though he was on the football team. He also moved from England, so I think he was still learning the game. The football coach is a very they don't throw the ball at my high school. They run the veer. This is all about knowing your assignment and whatever. You don't know your assignment, you're not playing. So the offensive line, in my opinion, has come a very long way. And we saw last year that the offensive line was fixed enough where it is no longer an excuse. In fact, it's not even bad anymore. It's not great. They're not great run blockers. There are issues there, but as a pass blocking unit, you could do stuff now. This is not the problem that it was. And they need a right guard right now, but Greg Van Roten is still out there, and that essentially is just bringing back last year's offensive line in its entirety. And that was a good offensive line. I'm sure there's plenty of teams out there that wish that they had that much. Andrew Thomas, by the way, is an all-pro left tackle. He had an all-pro season last year. The only reason he didn't get the actual award is because the Giants flat out stink. That is the only reason. I mean, you look at any numbers, any film you want. Andrew Thomas was 1 or 2 best tackle in the NFL last year.
Which has to make you feel pretty good. My last one here, Grump, is just this. My Jets are normally the human punching bag, and for good reason. They haven't made the playoffs in 15 years. But the Giants, I know that on the shiny surface, it's the New York Football Giants. They've missed the playoffs 12 of the last 14 years. So what, with Harbaugh coming in, I've heard a lot of Giant fans on social media, we're back, baby. playoffs. Let's go. Everything else. Is that expectations? We still have the draft where obviously you guys can add some more pieces, but is that the expectation is to compete immediately in the NFC East?
I mean, it shouldn't be. I mean, especially now from what we've seen, like I said, like drafting Jeremiah Love at 5, drafting him in the first, getting him, no matter where it goes, it's going to be in the top 5, right? That signals to me a much longer reset than even I expect. And I have very tepid expectations. I'm a pretty realistic guy. I can understand that, like, I just interviewed, not to like plug or whatever.
Oh, sure,
but,
please.
On my other show, Just Giants, we interviewed someone who was a former co-director of player personnel, director of college scouting, and he was a scout for like a decade and a half before all that. And I asked him, I was like, the Giants are in the middle of a regime change. Like, how enormous is that for the building? And he's like, dude, I mean, think about it. Like, I mean, he pretty much like, I like gave him a list. It was like, are people's assholes puckered? Like, are people working extra hard? Are they just quitting at that point? Like, what is the mood in the building? Are they excited? You know what I mean? Are they like, all right, like motivated? Because that could happen too. Like, inject some inspiration around the building. He's like, it's all the above and more. Like, there are guys in there that probably plug in more hours off season than they were like their entire careers beforehand. So I'm of the belief that they should be, first of all, forget playoffs, just try to win your division. Just win your divisional games, start there, beat the other teams in your division. That's a starting point. And right now this is an attainable task. We saw last year that Washington's early success was a little bit premature. We saw right now, the Cowboys have been slowly downgrading year after year. And maybe they have something going on, but I don't even know what was going on with that defense last year. And that's coming from a Giants fan.
Yeah.
And even Philly at this point, like, they're having quite an offseason. You know what I mean? The offensive coordinator's house getting egged. I mean, like, this is an attainable task. Trying to win your divisional games is an attainable task. I don't think that it should be playoffs. Other people do, and I understand why. Because everything you said is right. The only reason the Giants have the shiny surface is because they literally share a stadium with the Jets, who have done it worse. They are truly brothers in every way here. So, I mean, it's just the shinier side of the coin doesn't mean it's actually shiny. The Giants have been terrible for a very long time. And I think you could make the argument that they've been getting worse since like 2009. That it's been slowly getting, they won a Super Bowl in spite of it. But, I'm sure Manchild would agree, like, Eli Manning hid a lot of problems.
Definitely. For sure. All right, before we let you go, a plug away. I'm going to throw up the Giants Nation YouTube link right there for people that aren't familiar with that show, and you should be. It's one of the best podcasts out there. You were mentioning you also do the Just Giants podcast. Talk to me about what you're up to, why people should tune in. Tell us all about it.
Oh, man. So, I mean, I don't know if you can see, like, my eyes. I'm burning the candle at both ends these days. It is, it's now the end of March, so I am – I have my actual job in the morning. I'm the co-host for the Giants Nation show with Bobby Skinner. You've got the link right there on the screen. I encourage you to check it out. Bobby is an incredible talent. I'm honored to do that show with him. And it's a lot of fun. It's very in-depth Giant stuff. I also do the Just Giants podcast that I've been doing since like 2017, 2018, something like that, with my cousin, the Cranky Fan, that I mentioned before. And I am doing draft stuff almost every night. I'm spending a lot of time on as many players as I can. I also have assignments, you know what I mean? Of stuff I got to cover. So I do the draft stuff in depth. I go through as much information as I possibly can. I watch as much film as I can to get to as many guys as I can. So, this is my busiest moment, and whatever my follower count is, or people who have been, in my stratosphere for how many years, is probably because of the draft. So if there's any reason to listen to me at all, it's during the months of February, March, April, and I guess the first week of May.
All right, this
so
is where you butter your bread, baby.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and then also I'm a decently funny Twitter follow at Football Grump right there. On the screen.
Boy Green is actually headed to the draft this year. I may join him. We're trying to figure it out, but Boy Green's definitely doing with the lovely city of Pittsburgh. My son went to college up in Pittsburgh, so I'm very, very familiar with Pittsburgh.
Love that city.
We can drive it about 5 hours here from central New York to get over to Pittsburgh. Really easy drive right down the thruway and then down 79 and bingo, you're there. Fantastic. So that's going to be a wonderful host for this year's draft. It's a great place to doing it right down on the water. We were standing on the spot. We went to a Pirates game last year.
Isn't that stadium awesome, dude?
Phenomenal. What a phenomenal spot that is there. It's just great. I mean, I'm a Met fan, but I would go just to go to that stadium and sit in that stadium, and
I literally have. So I went on like a weekend trip where we just drove out there. It was about 6 hours from Central Jersey where I lived at the time. And, that's it. We bought the tickets that day. We got like $9 outfield tickets. Like the outfield seats are actually awesome.
Yeah,
and so, and then we just went to a double. We won. It was I think a Friday night, Saturday day, and then just drove back Saturday night. So
it's awesome.
It's just because that stadium rules. Seriously.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Right, Paul, that was your first time to the stadium, right?
It was. And I've heard people say it anytime. Yeah, we used to be on radio before we got here into the digital space. And everyone, hey, what's the best baseball park you've ever been to? Oh, PNC Pack. And I'm like, all right. You guys always are yapping about it.
No question.
But to finally go, all right, it lived up to the hype of what everyone was saying. That was cool.
And you always got the charm of Fenway. San Francisco's very nice. I've been there too.
Sure.
City Field's not a bad.
I love City Field. I went to City Field last year to a Mets game.
But Pittsburgh's got that. I don't know. It's got that little je ne sais quoi. I love the skyline in the background. I love seeing the bridges and the water, and it's in a nice spot down there. I really do.
So it's right in the downtown. I think that makes all the difference. Like
Yes.
I know like Yankee Stadium is in the city, and City Field is. It's in the city kind of, but it's not really in the heart of it. It's not in the center. So I've moved to Charlotte now. So the Bank of America Stadium is like a walk from me.
Nice.
So I picked up some tickets. I lost a bet essentially on the Giants Nation show based on our playoff picks. And whatever happened. So I think, what was it, like Tampa or Carolina was going to get in, right?
Yeah.
So because Bobby's based in Florida, if Tampa got in, he was going to have to go to that game. What we lost the bet, but essentially buy playoff tickets. It's not cheap. Yeah. But Carolina made it, so went with my fiance. We just walked down the street. It was awesome, and being in the city is like you just go there and people are hanging out at the side of buildings and whatever, like cheering, waving flags, dancing, music.
They were in the playoffs for the first time since Cam Newton, the league MVP year in 2015. So I imagine the city was lit.
It was pretty crazy. Honestly, for the way that they lost, the crowd took it very well.
Wow,
very well. Because honestly, I would have to tell my family, just don't talk to me for 48 hours.
I would not have been cool. Definitely not.
No. God. So
now you said you're down in Charlotte, Grump?
Correct. Yeah, I just moved down here last summer.
Okay.
Just the same time I started on Giants Nation show. It was awful timing. Everything was terrible.
Jesus. Oh, wow.
Well, one of my best friends is the voice of the Panthers, and he's been bugging me for years to come down there. So if I end up doing that,
there you go.
This fall, I'll hook up with you. He'll give us the luxury box, the whole 9 yards, man. It'll be a total great football experience. So it's always good to have football friends out there. I know my wife might come down with me. She's going to have no interest in the football game. So, it's good to have somebody to pal around with.
She can sit with my fiance. They will delightfully try all the food around the stadium.
That's right. The luxury food is very nice.
Watch some football, nothing wrong with that. And chomp some wings. All right. Well, great. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. I know you've been burning both ends of the candle, so thanks for carving out a little bit of time for us, but always fun to talk about the Giants. This is an exciting year for Giants fans. John Harbaugh has reignited the fire. Let's hope that we can get these players on the field and make something happen this year.
Thank you for having me. Seriously. If I'm a little yappy, it's because I don't talk to as many people this time of year. I'm just going crazy in my own apartment here. So
that's what we have the guests on to do the talking.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a joy.
All right, there he is, the Football Grump. We'll see you.